Alright guys, so this is week 2 for our CSC class, and we're going about this a slightly different way than usual. Normally we'd be doing the bookwork and then the office stuff, but last week I asked you guys, said let's try to kind of intermix it to keep it a little bit more interesting, so that's what we're going to try to do today. So we are going to actually be going on to chapter 11. That will be our first chapter we're covering the book. And before we really get into this, I do want to go through how these things are different things are going to work. All right. So hopefully on the screen you guys can see I'm looking at the assignment calendar for the 8th for this semester. And we have 3 different assignments. We have a simulation, the project, and the exam. So the simulation is overall just what it sounds like. It is going to be a simulated environment in the web browser that you can work and try and learn and complete these different things. Right? This is trying to walk you through how to do all these things, which is both lovely and royal pain at the exact same time. All right. So we have, as you guys hopefully can see, we've got your standard Word document. Looking right here at the center of the screen, that is Word. There's nothing too fancy going on. Right. At the bottom, you will notice that I now have 2 taskbars. I have taskbar number 1 and taskbar number 2. All right. Number 1 is the simulated one. 2 is my actual Windows computer. So make sure that when you are doing this, you are selecting the right taskbar. If it's like open this file or something, go to File Explorer here. Don't click on the File Explorer that might be right there. All right. So make sure that you do click on the right one. Otherwise, it's going to give you problems. Like I did it. It's like, no, you did. Next, over here on the right-hand side, we have this blue bar. All right, this is all of the instructions and things that you guys are going to need to do. So right now, we are on part 1 of 16. Right? So there is a lot going on here. And for this one, we have 3 different steps that we need to do to complete part 1. Right? Once we complete those 3, we will have, it'll move us on to the next one. Automatically move. Some of them will have 3 or 4 things. Some of them will have 1 thing. It really just depends on when they create the simulation, what they were doing. But that's what's going on here. Now, the other thing that I like to point out is down here in the corner, we have a learning aid button. That's really helpful for you. Right? We also have this little keyboard button, right? That will be coming handy if you're having trouble setting the system. This is a bigger issue if you're on a Mac or a Chromebook or your iPad or something. You're trying to do this on there, and you're like, I don't have the Windows key, or I'm supposed to hold Alt F4 and Alt F4 to something else. Whatever the case is. So this little keyboard down here brings up a little on-screen keyboard and allows you to actually type things out. So you can be like, I want to type out QWERTY. Now you will notice up here it's only showing you 1 letter. All right, so it's doing 1 thing at a time. You can't type out a whole bunch of stuff. All right, if you notice, it's also not inserting it right away. It's not like Windows standard on-screen keyboard where as soon as you click a button, it pops up on the screen. Now, this is really there to send multiple different things at the exact same time. So like if I want to set Control-Alt-Shift-G, that's what I can type now. And then there's a button up here that says Go. So once you press that, that is when it will actually let this. This isn't meant for you to type out a whole bunch of things. You can do it. You can type out Q and that. Right? I would not suggest this. It's more than pain in the butt for you. But that keyboard is there. Every semester, at least 1 person says, I can't send that command because I'm on the Mac and it's not working. So that little keyboard is your saving grace. Also down here in the learning aids, we have read instructions, watch video, and practice. Right? We hit the read instructions. I believe it's going to open up the textbook. Yep, we're opening up the textbook. So here it says create new document, insert text, and it popped you right into basically where you need to be. All right, as I told you guys in last class, that the textbook is really good for this. It literally walks you through. It shows you what the picture is. All right, so this little funky like paragraphic sign right there. All right, that is the paragraph group. That's the show high button. All right, so it even tells you home tab paragraph group. So if we go back to the actual assignment right now, home tab paragraph group, looking for the little symbol, boom, right there. So right here it's show you what the symbol is. If you don't know what you're looking for, textbook, that instructions, I think it was. The instructions can be very helpful. There's also a watch video option.
With a blank Word document displayed, on the Home tab in the paragraph group, click Show.
Probably have a hard time hearing the audio, but again, it's walking you through how to click the button.
Type and has positions of.
And it's showing you how to type everything else. So it is going to walk you through and like show you what you need to do. The third option is the practice option. All right, and here it's going to be like that video, but it's going to be animated, so it's going to be like, hey, you need to click right here. Okay, so it's showing you click there. Now it's going to tell me, hey, congratulations, you've got that 1/3 of the step done. Now come do it in the actual. So it's going to walk you through how to do it. So the practice really is quite annoying. If you do it wrong 5 times, it's going to force you into that practice. Now, just because it forces you to do it, I'm realizing now that you guys can't have a lovely picture over in front of me. Anyway, because this, so we have learning aids here, and then we have that keyboard right there. Right, sorry, I have my video over. Downside of having my picture on is things get heavy. But anyway, so learning aids, there's the read instructions, there's the watch video, there's the practice. So over here on the right, actually one more thing. Now, if you're on a laptop, which I'm going to guess many of you are because it happens. Okay. All right, this might be what your screen looks like. Where this bar is across the bottom. I really don't like this layout. Right? I think it's really annoying. I don't think it shows you all the information, and plus, like if I click File, you can see all I can see down to here is close, and sometimes picture around. All right, all you can see is close. Sometimes there's something that you need to do underneath close, so it's like physically keeping you from selecting something. Right? So that is problematic. I really think that this is a poor use of your real estate. Having that just a little bit on the right is definitely the way to go. Right? So in Chrome, if you right-click on the top bar, you can go zoom, and then you can do smaller. You know, zoom out until you see it. Basically what I suggest you. Now you notice that there are options over here that we didn't see before because they were hidden underneath stuff because they were too zoomed in. All right, that just comes down to your screen resolution. Nothing too crazy going on there. Is it annoying? Yes. Right, but sometimes that's the only option that they have. So they did what they could do to get these things. So, anyway, I like to show you those kind of those hints, tricks, and things like that to help get along. Now, let's actually dive into the simulation. So, the first thing you guys enable those show hide button. Notice that you can click here, you can do it that way. If you notice, if I hover over this, but right there, it says Control plus asterisk. You could also hit the Control asterisk button if you want to enable that one. So, there are multiple ways that you can help. The software has tried to come up with like the top 10 ways or something like that to, to accept for you doing this. This is a program. This is expecting you to do it certain ways. Even if you might say, hey, I've got the best system, I know how to do this, without doing anything crazy, that's all wonderful and good, but the software may not accept it. So even though, yes, you may get to the right way and do the right solution by going your way, the software may not have that new program as an acceptable way. So if that's the case, just looking back at the textbook and seeing what it says that you can. That's the simplest and best option. That's the only option? No, you can do it however you want, and hopefully get there in the long run. But just follow the textbook if you know what you're doing, or use Google. Say, how do I do this? What's the button? Whatever the case. So first one, click in that button, check that one. Next one is internships available, and this is where I hate this software. Internships available. It's not the worst one. All right, and so I've typed that. I'll just press enter 2 times. 1, 2, and boom, we'll move on to the next one. Now this one is where I hate because we have this long line of text that I need to type out. This. All right, so I typed it all out, press spacebar, and I'm like, why did that work? Incorrect action. I don't know if anyone has caught what I did wrong, because and it is a royal pain to catch what you did wrong sometimes. In this case, I purposely left out the period. So I'm going to go back, hit the period, and space to it, and see, hey, I got it right that time. All right. So if you don't type everything in perfectly, it's going to mark you wrong. And sometimes, just like that one, there's a lot of text. I mean, that was a line and a half of text that it's very easy to miss a capital letter or a period. So be extra careful when you are doing those. That's my only suggestion for you. When it says you've done it wrong, most likely it's a spelling issue. Wrong like that. There are other options, but most likely it's going to be a spelling mistake if you're typing a lot of text. All right, we're going to go through maybe one or two more of these. So, in the document, click the insert tab, the text group button. All right, so we're at the insertion point. That's the little blinking cursor right there. All right, we're at the little paragraph. So we're at the very end. We're going to click the insert tab, and then text group. So we look at the bottom: pages, tables, illustration, panel, media, links, comments, header, footer, text. There we go. Text section. We're going to click the object button arrow. So this is the object button. So the little arrow pointing right next to the triangle. This is a text file. Select that. And this is insert. Boom. Got it done. Okay. So this is walking you through these things step at a time. Are the simulations the best thing since sliced bread? No. They are a great way for someone who hasn't used Word before to slowly learn more about it. If you've used Word before, which basically most people in these classes have used Word at least to some extent, you're going to probably be annoyed by this. But we have to assume that we're all starting from scratch. So start with the simulations. It's going to walk you through. That might weigh you a little bit. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it's seen. So anyway, we're gonna one more. So we're gonna select the title of the document, available, and paragraph mark follows it. Okay, so see how I have paragraph mark follow, highlighted for notes. Make sure you get that whole line highlighted. Home tab, plot group. We're gonna click text effects. Text effects. There we go. Typography, and then third row, click the first effect. So third row, 1, 2, 3. Boom. Okay. Now one size font 52. Right, 52 is not an option. You might be, well, how do I get 52? You click the up arrow. Not going to work. Notice down the 2 attempts remaining. All right, so you can click here and just type 52 in, enter, and it will, change it for you. So if the option is not on the drop down, just go ahead and manually type it in. That's center, so that's the end of the paragraph group right here. We have a center option. How we just keep moving this through. Now I'm down to 2 attempts remaining, so if I fail things 2 more times, it's going to force me to go through that practice. So I just like to point that out as a reminder. See what happens there. So we're going to put the font color and the theme color, 6 columns for its colors. We're going to make that one. That's the right one. Let's try the second. Try that one. Oh, we're out of attempts. Now it forces me into the learning. Now, the one nice thing here is you don't actually have to do the learning. Now, if you don't know what you're doing, the learning is great. It'll help walk you through. But if you think, I clicked the wrong one, all right, I only had 1 attempt on this one section. So, because I screwed up so many times with something else I didn't actually know. Well, you can just click close practice and move on with you. So, it does take a little bit longer to do it, but kind of skip the training if you don't want to. But there. I picked the right one. Okay. Going through. Shadow, outer, second row, third style, second row, third style. So you can see we've got 16 steps like this. This one again has 1 thing to it. The other one had 4 steps, 3 steps to it. So we're going to kind of just go along with that. Okay. Any questions on the simulations? What would be a good example of using the keyboard? So again, there will be times where it's like it wants you to copy using Control-C, and when you're on a Mac or a Chromebook, the control button might act a little bit differently. So it's not accepting the input that it's getting. I think that a good example of this, again, going from Macs, and on Macs is the equivalent of Control on Windows, correctly. So there's weird instances like that where it's like it it wants you to use a very specific shortcut, all this or all this or whatever the case is, but it's not sending that command. It could be that Windows is holding back that command from being sent because it's not actually doing the simulation. It's doing it on your actual Windows computer. It's like if I hit the Windows button, it opens up my start menu on my other screen. It's over there, right? It doesn't open up here. Where if I click here, so anyway, the Windows button is being sent right now. So that's where that keyboard comes in really handy. If you're like, I can't get the command to send from my actual keyboard, and mainly for shortcut keys. That's where it's really handy. Any other questions? All right, so that's your simulation. All right, so that's the simulation. You're going to do one of these for chapters 11 through 18, I think it is. All right, so that's a little bit more, but again, as long as you put the time in, you will have a perfect score on these simulations. It may take you some time to get all those stupid little things perfect and not just get pissed off at it that you just want to quit it, but you should be able to get a perfect score on it. Right? And here it now shows my simulation is in progress. Right? So we've got two other things. We've got project and the exam. Right? So the project, right? When you click on that, it's going to bring up this window. You have download starting materials, so you can click on that button. And you can either do this separately, download, which is going to download two separate files for you. All right? This is the option that I like best. Or you can do download all files, which will download a single zip file for you, which you then have to open the zip and theory extract it. So I like downloading individual files better. I think it's faster, but to each their own. All right, so I will open these files. All right, so the one file is the instructions. All right, so this is the one that just tells you, in this case, if we're doing Word, that's chapter 11. Okay. So this is all it is instruction. It tells you the number of points that each section is worth. Kind of run right, which is nice. And it tells you exactly what you're going to do. Now, this isn't walking you through how you're doing everything, right? This isn't saying like, oh, you need to click the file button instead of, it's saying you should know how to do this by now. You should have done basically all of this in the simulation, but yeah, you should know how to do it basically. So that's one document. All right, the other document is this one, all right, and this is the actual assignment that you're editing. Now, you will need to click Enable Editing up here at the top if that button is there. Otherwise, I can do everything I want down here, and if you notice down here, it says this modification, I select this open. That's a safety precaution for you. This file is downloaded off the internet. That's why you have to click it. There we go. All right, so I've got this enabled for editing. All right, I am doing this on my computer. Can you do this in, can you do this on the online version of Office? The answer to that is yes, you can do this. You may run into some technical issues. Every once in a while, the online version of Office is weird. Oh, that button isn't there. So this really wants you, based on simulation, to do this on the Office that's installed on your computer. I will show you a video on how to get that downloaded from your HTC email if you don't have Office on your computer. Right? It's also expecting a specific version of Office. I don't remember what that is off the top of my head, but the one in your HTC email should be the one that it's expecting. So if you have a really old version of Office, the button, the layout of the icons up here and things like that might be different. Menus might be different spots. So you just need to be ready for that. So, now slightly. All right, so first it wants you to download, open the Word document. Got it open. Just over to the far right. That's worth 0 points. All right. Now we want to insert the file name in the footer. All right. The footer is the very bottom of your document. All right, it's this little gray space. If you look down here at the very bottom, the footer is that space on the Word document. So when you're, we were to put a whole bunch more text in here. All right, when we got down to this point, it wouldn't let me put text below that line. It would actually jump to the next page. Okay? So it wants us to put a footer in. That would be under Insert. All right, header and footer. Let's do a footer, so footer, and then it says insert the file name. I'm just going to go with a blank one. All right. Now, you're should be a footer tab now. Yep. So here you can see at the very top that we are now under the new header and footer section. So that wasn't there a minute ago. We put a footer, pop this down there, we got a new special tab at the top. So it's something that we need to be aware of. It also only has one. Sometimes you'll have two different tabs here, mainly for pictures and things like that. We like to point that out. All right. They want us to put our file name in here. That's going to be here under document. So now, if you notice, when I was small, now it's the right again. Everything's different, right? I now have two big buttons and three little buttons. If I go back to being full screen here. Notice how they're all big. All right, so the amount of resolution you have on your laptop will affect how everything. Like, we're going to do document info, and we're going to do file name. That's what we want. And I'm going to close header and footer, and boom, that first section is now. Let's just do the line spacing. Well, A, that's like line spacing is here in a paragraph. This one, paragraph spacing, perfect. And then once one, 5. Fine. Now let's clear this. Font 24. Normally the fonts it's going to have you pick are going to be one of these drop-down options. Not going to be top and bottom margins. I want to get down. Kind of have to go through this edit. All right, so anyway, top bottom 0.5. So that will be. Top and bottom. So top is currently 1, 5, bottom. 3 paragraphs below. 2. First. And there's multiple ways for you guys to do it. Most of this should be covered as said in your textbook or like that. Have a specific question about a specific step, I will guide you with the question. I don't want to take too much time today on how you do a very specific thing. That I don't think that the simulation covers that I want to talk about, but those know how to do it or whatnot, or if you guys are doing the simulation anyway. Here's how you do this simulation. That's fine, kind of. All right, we're going to do the entire document again. It's basically 4 to 6 is facing it. Or we want to be. All right, notice again if I highlight these first 3 paragraphs, right? It should left to right. We put the paragraph option there. Here you see first line 0.5. I think 0.5 is the good first name. Anyway, all right, so we've got. Let's just select these 3 lines. Bullets. One. Rare builds for bullets. That should be this. I do need to go in here and do litter. Paragraph again. Instructions. It's always the fun part. You gotta read the instructions. I do suggest that you guys, even if you have 2 monitors, print this out. That way you can cross things off, you can circle things, makes your life a little bit easier. For the digital age. Really? But so, with the bullet list selected, we just select the right tab of thought leaders and select bullets, bring paragraph, and tabs, right, set dots. That's this. So, right dots. 0.5 probably. Set button. You can see we have it now. Okay. Should have had dots. There we go. Now we got the dots going. So, I'm not perfect. It takes a little bit of time to get something. All right. Now, this is one of those times, so we're supposed to have energy here, backspace to get rid of that. They want us to take all of this out. Now, just like in the simulation, if you spell something wrong, it's going to mark you wrong for that entire section, or for at least part of that section. So, I really suggest not typing things like this. What it wants you to type out. I suggest that you right-click and copy it, or Control-C, that would be the shortcut. But when you paste it, you don't want to just do paste with source formatting. Blue or something, it might mark you wrong. What we want to do is keep text. Well, luckily, Microsoft has not accepted the Control-Shift paste. That would be the paste with no formatting yet. Right? Some programs support that. Microsoft has not adopted that. Control V, and it's going to paste it with all that loveliness. If I do Control-Shift V, it doesn't do anything. You have to right click to paste it up. You have to make sure that you don't get this all out. And then period. I highly suggest that copy and paste large. Now, if you're just typing out quality or service or like magic, okay, and it's not too bad. But when you and line text, you can easily misspell something in that. Pasting. Keeping text. Numbered lists. Now, you guys obviously are going to keep going through this. I'm just going to say. So, if we hit preview steps, this is just like that one Word document. However, now it's time to upload your assignment. So we're going to go ahead and click on the file button. Our first step. Now we have to open our file right now. Underscore student word, blah, 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 blah. Right. Instead of student, it should have your last name. Go ahead and click on that. Good. Now, how many of you at this point do you think would probably just say, all right, time to submit for grading, boom, done? Okay. That many of you are thinking in your head, yep, I probably would have done that. Be the wrong answer. You'll need to click this upload button. All we've done is selected the file to upload. We haven't actually. Make sure that you click that upload. If you don't click it, it's not going to put your file in. Actually, won't let me click it. But first, I click upload. Once it's uploading, we've successfully picked it. Now I can see for grading. Hey, it's congratulations. Now, notice it has already said not passed. That means it's actually already graded this. So if I click on my three dots here, I can then do view submissions. It's going to let me go see what I have submitted. If you notice, I've got a 65%. We all should have been expecting that because I didn't finish everything. I didn't do 10, 11, 12, or 13. This doesn't like what I did for that one, obviously. So, this is going to show you the scoring sheet. Okay, hey, here was step 2, you got your points. Step 3, you got your points. Oh, step 8, we didn't actually do that right. We click the little arrow, we can go see what we did wrong. Oh, I was supposed to be at position 6. Anyone remember what I put it at? That's 6. That's why it's marking wrong. I didn't read this step close enough. Little mistake I made. guys are probably making. So it's telling me like, hey, these things weren't at the right spot, but hey, you also didn't get 5 points up 5 rather. All 6 points. That's right. Obviously, we didn't. So it's looking for that information. Hey, this wasn't actually there. Now, the other nice thing here is over on the right here, we've got 3 buttons. We've got the submitted file that you actually submitted, extra non-scored items, right? Then we have a live comment. To me, this live comments report, that's the most helpful one. Now, if you did complete this on computer A, didn't have time to finish, go back and fix what you got wrong, and you're now on computer B, you don't have access to your file from computer A anymore, you can come in here and actually download the file you uploaded so you can go back and edit. That is kind of a handy button. But to me, this live comments report is really helpful. I'm going to click on that to download. Now, mouse says LC, that's live comment. Okay, so click on that to open it. It's going to give me a 1-page, shows me my point deductions. And now we can scroll down, and here's it. And look, we have comments on the right. So notice it's physically highlighting this line. Same thing it told me on the website, but it's highlighting where the problem is. Hey, right here, this is where something's wrong. So it actually tells me you can go back and fix that. Tell me, hey, we're missing for the equation, location. Now, when you have a lot of things wrong, like I only did half of this, it's not going to show me. In this case, it's showing me these 3 things that you did wrong. So go back and reopen that file. Came back in here, I highlighted it again. Paragraph maps. 2, 6. 7. Boom. Okay. Tweak it ever so slightly. If that was my only mistake, I could now save this, re-upload it again, and rewrite it instantaneously. Go back. Okay. Back to the 8th. Here again, you get 2 attempts at this one, right? So, yeah, I did my last attempt at this. And download it. Open. 6 points for that. When I submit this now, I should have a 70. Hey, now this time it just says submitted. Didn't quite have time to auto-grade it real quick, but by now it's already auto-graded. So click on the 3 buttons. We can review submissions. We can now see, hey, I've got a 71 on the system. So as long as you take your time, you go through all of this, you are careful, and you go back and fix things. Again, there's really no reason you should have an A. You should be able to get 100 because it's telling you like this is wrong, this is wrong. But you should be able to get an A. Any questions on the projects? All right, and then that takes us to the exam. And click on this, you can know something about the exam. It looks a lot like projects. That's because it is a lot like it is the exact same thing. Look, we have more files before. Into it, better instructions, how that we're actually editing. More things to do. Right? If you look at the steps, just preview them. Basically, it's the same thing. Text, numbered lists, R, those types of things. Right? So it's all there. There shouldn't be anything too crazy in the exam that wasn't in the project. Somebody did quick ask that if you need to review for help, yes, you can go back to the simulation. Do that again. Or again, go to your textbook, right? And help one. All of these things should be covered in your textbook somehow. But anyway, the exams are basically the same thing as the projects. Right? And I believe right now they're set up for 2 submissions. In one, it would have popped up as a submission possibility. So that's why I think you should have at least 2 submissions. It's basically the project, but it's just another exercise for you. I believe the simulations are worth 1% of your final grade. I don't know if the project and exams are both worth 2, or if the exam be changed. They do get 4 points simulation to exam. So let me just go back to simulation. Yes, if you did finish this, I have not finished this. Yes, but I can now click on simulation again. Start it back up. Do it again. You're not 100 on it or not. Now, if you got an 80 or whatever on the simulation, and you're all right, I want to go back and fix what I got wrong. You need to do the whole thing again. Do not suggest hitting that submit button until you've gotten everything perfect in that. Because you will realize the simulation is going to take you some time. It's not like, oh, wait, 5 minutes. Different parts of this. 3, that one has 1. Life. Steps. But there's a lot of these little parts and pieces. Even if you just say 2 minutes per section, 32 minutes to take you to get through. So the simulation is going to take you. Don't just say, oh yeah, I can just cruise right on through that in no time. Any other major questions with projects, simulations, exams? So with no questions, then there are a few things that I do want to talk about. So here we just have the Word document to play around with. Right? Some things that I think that aren't covered very well in the simulation. How to save as a PDF. Depending on your computer, you might have a few options. Your file, we have save as Adobe PDF right now. Possibly an option. Normally this is only an option if you have Adobe Acrobat. That might not be an option. If that's not, and down here you can do export, create Adobe PDF right now. Another option. The third option is sometimes you can do print, and then Adobe PDF is an option. So there's 3 different ways about doing this. The printing one is the least ideal because it loses information. It doesn't say, oh, this is a header, this is a this, this is a that. It doesn't save all that metadata. So I really don't suggest that print option unless I would do the save as Adobe PDF first if that's an option. If not, then do the next. In the project, I don't remember seeing the project. Yeah. I don't remember seeing it. That's quick. Anyway, so one of the things that it's going to have you do it's right. Yes. Quick read through this. I might have changed it on my notes. I don't see it. That's good. But anyway, things that you might see at some point, it's called the inside address. Let's see, address. That would be the address at the top. So if you were writing a professional letter to somebody, that would be what would be right here at the very top. This is by no means perfectly accurate, but that is the inside address right there. So I just like to make sure you get that out because a few of these things have said that. The other thing is, notes have this, but again, I don't know if it's still here. This one, big C. McLeod, I don't know how you spell this, or how you even pronounce that. All right, but many people I've had in the past enter this and go, I'm getting marked wrong for this. Why am I getting marked wrong? This is a L, not a capital I. I, lowercase l. Very hard to see the difference there, isn't it? Now, that's because we're on caliber font. Right? Roman, now it's a little bit more obvious. The top of the I has serifs on it. Has some serif, but they're different. So I just like to point that out when you are, depending on the font you're using, capital I's and the lowercase l's look exactly the same, especially if I'm font or whatever. So if you're entering things, again, this is why I like just copying and pasting or the instruction. Type this, like copy and paste it, you won't type it wrong. You paste it as text. So, sounds like a crazy thing, but yes, I feel like I need to push that one. All right. Another thing is salutations. That is an expression of greeting, goodwill, or courtesy by word, gesture, or ceremony. Just in case that pops out. I think this is it. Or chapter ahead of myself. Not positive. Anyway, that is what I've got right this moment. If you guys have any questions, feel free to,